artist was interesting and really required a lot of effort from the advisory committee, from the design committee, and others. We had a good number of artists submit interest in the 6th and Main project, and basically over a couple of months, the design committee and a subcommittee of that group worked to narrow that pool down, reviewing the artists, reviewing their background, reviewing their previous projects. In December and January, those artists came back with final concepts, at which point council made their final decision going with Berry. Berry has been a joy to work with. Berry's a long-time artist, professional artist, and has really an interesting resume, and now works under the Berry Bate sculpture title. She's done a lot of work in Western North Carolina, which I think was very appealing to council and to the Main Street Advisory Committee. She is a metal artist, metal sculptor, uses the hammer technique, which is interesting. I think that's something that differentiates her style a little bit from others.
Envision what would be perfect for Hendersonville as a fountain for the community, and I felt that it should be something we all love. Why do we come to Hendersonville? Why do we live in Hendersonville? And we live here because we love to be surrounded by mountains, and we love the waterfalls, and this is why we've settled here. So I decided we needed to respect what was important to us geologically, and what were the most important mountain ranges, and kind of make a place for us, a piece of place. And so I realized that Pisgah, Pinnacle, and Sugarloaf mountains were probably the key mountains. So I decided to put these 3 mountains into one range, surrounding us with a waterfall coming down. Wasn't just embossing, it's reposéing and chasing at the same time. And we'd work it for hours, and then when it gets stiff, we have to heat it and anneal it, and then it softens again, and then we work harden it. So, but it all takes a lot of hammer strokes to become strong, and that's how we worked every single section of this mountain. Okay, we have to form an armature to make it strong. And so we work with the technique that actually I learned when I was a consultant on the Statue of Liberty, where we have banding that goes around the skin of the copper. And then from there we have a secondary armature, which is the pieces that go from length to length. And then we go from side to side in 3 different parts on each length. And then we go into diagonals, and that's all in the horizontal form. We also are going to work with 3 verticals going up through each top of the mountain, so that's the way it'll be picked up with the crane or the track hoe. So we have vertical members, and then we're going to have triangularization going up vertically on those members. So it becomes a web of structure. Right now we are in the process of drilling holes of solid bronze. I might add that all the armature is bronze so that no moisture will ever present a problem. And we are making the solid pieces that the eye hooks will go into. So we have to drill and thread, and then we'll have eye hooks on the top that will be strapped, and these will be the anchors to hold the mountain up in the air as we install.
The genesis of the project is really related to the streetscape rehab that council and the city have been engaged in over the past 3 to 4 years. Back about 4 years ago, council extended the serpentine pattern on Main Street south of First Avenue, moving down to Allen Street. And at that time, the discussion sort of expanded to include the opportunity to remodel or rehabilitate the entire Main Street. So they began moving north along Main Street, and this past summer, Phase 3 was presented to council and included, as a component of that, significant public art features as gateway elements.
The advisory committee came up with several very different suggestions for the fountain, and we did. We all kind of had different opinions of what we liked, but talking about it, getting some public input, we felt that going with the local artist with some of the natural materials was the way we should go with this particular piece of art.
So that was really where the initial thought of a piece came into play, and once that project had been identified and council had sort of stated that they were interested in public art at the corner of 6th and Main, the Main Street Advisory Committee took it upon themselves to help facilitate that process, and that basically started June of 2012. And in July of 2012, the advisory committee released an RFQ, I guess was request for qualifications from artists for the 6th and Main project, which was designated as a fountain feature.
We have hoists in the shop, so we rigged up a structural system on the exterior at the top of the mountain so we could hoist it up. We put it onto a cart and roll that around through the shop to the big garage door where we have another hoist. We can lift up heavy objects that way, and we put that right on Steve's truck. And we made up a platform on the bottom that had feet so that the skin of the copper wouldn't get crushed while it was in transport. And both of those external structural elements really made it possible to move it and hoist it, get it around. As we make these pieces, every little step along the way, you realize that this thing is getting more and more delicate and more fragile. And as long as it's in our home base, it feels pretty safe and secure. The moment we start to transport and do installation, it definitely gets a little hairy. Anytime it's on the back of a truck, you definitely worry about it a little bit. And Steve placed his track hoe so that he could pull it off of the truck and position it over the basin. And I placed the aluminum posts underneath the mountain and bolted that down, bolted it up to the mountain, and then we had Steve just place it into the basin. So internally, there's a whole bunch of work that you'll never see, but it's absolutely necessary to hold it up. It really is supporting itself, and the rock work eventually is, comes right up to that skin. But it's all completely self-supported by that silicon bronze skeleton inside the armature.
I took part in the placement of the boulders that form the base of the copper mountain that Berry Bate put together. And it was very challenging because I had to have just the right boulders, right size boulders, and they had to be very weathered boulders. And just the challenge for me was putting these boulders together to form waterfalls. Gravel backfill that we added as we worked our way up, and just folding this rubber liner back and forth as we go up, backfilling, holding the rubber back, putting the next boulder, and pulling the rubber liner back over the boulders, putting more gravel, just working our way up.
The city of Hendersonville was looking for artists and to put art that was representative of community on Main Street, which was exactly perfect for us to be involved, because community and what we think and what community means to us is a big part of what the Community Foundation is involved in. So we were interested in representativeness of what our community thinks of that as well. So it did need to have an expression, but the city of Hendersonville took the painstaking process of engaging all the right people to do that, making those decisions. That was not a place for us to make decisions, but to be able to have a public-private support of our community coming together and being able to put the symbols that mean community to enhance the areas that we gather. Most of the people who connect to this community do their connecting in Main Street of Hendersonville, at least at some point in their lifetime here. And so that's a great center point for where a community starts. Each community has their front porches and back door neighbors and those types of things that make this whole county a great place to be. But at some point in time, Main Street is a place for folks to gather.
Public art for a number of years. We had Four Seasons tree, which was a metal apple tree. We have a fountain with a tiger. Have had other transitory pieces of art, including our bears, which have been on Main Street for a number of years. But we felt that we wanted to have something a little more permanent, and especially the idea of a fountain that's been talked about for many years. So with this third phase of Main Street, it just seemed like the appropriate time to put in a piece of public art that was a fountain.
downtown Hendersonville is such a vibrant part of our community overall. And when Lou brought us the plans and the idea of doing a fountain within our courtyard, we just felt like it was a great thing to do. It would be a great addition for our community. I think it's all of our responsibility in order to try to beautify our community. So if we're able to have a small part in improving downtown and providing a space for public art in our community, we're willing to help in that. Walking downtown and just seeing more people dining outside, seeing more people on the sidewalk, having greater area for them to congregate, to meet, to have conversations. Overall, it's been a huge success, I think, for our community.
Even though many of us start on Main Street or we're connected with Main Street at some point in time, we want to carry that home and make sure that we're linking to each other with those same characteristics, with the same basic values, with the same things that we had that conversation maybe on Main Street. That conversation is at home on our front porch as well. And how do we see our future? And I think the future is very bright for our community when we're investing ourselves and investing in that future right here at home. I think people will linger longer. That will assist business, but it'll also assist conversation on the street with neighbors. It'll also help people to be able to take a little extra time to smell the flowers, experience the art, be a part of what it's like to be a neighbor. I think sometimes we forget just the face-to-face conversation, and I think the actual structure of a piece of art in a public place will help people linger and have more face-to-face conversations.
Are you ready? A one, a two, a three.
Waiting 4 years to finish Main Street. I think it's beautiful. I have received nothing but compliments on how great everything is. People love the trees, they love tables and chairs, people love sitting around the fountain. We're so delighted with the end result. Just can't say enough how great it is to have it finished and have so many people happy to be there.
I thought it was a long road to this day came. We spent many hours trying to create the mountain, putting it together, putting all this stone in, and I felt like it was going to be a long time till I saw this day, and I'm so happy it's here. I feel like everything turned out beautifully. And it's really amazing so much we've accomplished in such a short amount of time.
There's been a lot of conversation about the public art, which I think is a good thing, and a lot of that has really stimulated people coming into the district, spending time in the plaza. One of my favorite things is how many more people I've actually seen here in this space than had ever been before. It's always been an open space, it's always been a plaza in front of the bank, but you're really seeing people spend time here and seem to enjoy themselves, so we're very, very excited about that.
Well, I think it's great that Hendersonville had an opportunity to do this with a public art display. I think it's just a beautiful thing that we've got here, and it's been here for many years for people to enjoy.
I'm Steve Carricker, I'm a councilman here. I am very, very proud of what we've done on Main Street over the last 4 or 5 years. We realized it was going to be a stretch for funding and everything else, but we knew we had to, like any business, rebrand ourselves to keep people coming, keep it alive, keep it fresh. And it has evolved. It's been a little bit more pricey than we originally expected, but anything worth doing is worth doing right, in my opinion. And it's turned out very, very well. There's more people on this street than there ever has been, and I've lived here 30 years. When we first moved here, my wife and I used to walk on Main Street and taking breaks from renovating our house, and it was a ghost town. Now she complains she has to put on good clothes and makeup to come downtown when we walk now, and that's a good thing. So we're very proud of it.